It's my brother from another mother. Hi, Chris.
Hey, lady.
Yeah. Welcome, Latrice's husband, Christopher Hamblin. Thanks for agreeing to make yourself in front of the camera, a rare appearance.
It's true. Thank you for having me. I've helped a lot of these episodes happen. And
Yes,
never
you
even gotten
have.
to see
You
one,
are definitely part of the Hey Qween family.
And I've heard you talk some shit about me too.
Oh, how dare you? Never. So, how long have you guys now officially been married?
We're gonna be 7 years come December, so.
Married. We've only been about
Married?
7
years
months.
together.
7 years together, but,
But-
8 months. 8 months this month.
Yeah, something
8
like
months.
that.
Wow, so the wedding was right on DragCon weekend last year.
For New York.
For New York DragCon. Now tell me about prepping for the wedding and all of it. So it was all you.
Yeah, somebody was busy filming something called All Stars 4.
Right, so that was going on at the same time?
I could not even talk to my husband for a month of planning our wedding.
Wow.
So my mom was really great and helped me kind of get it together. And then when he got back out of jail,
Can we say some other terminology?
he approved and liked what we did, and we ended up having, I think it was a pretty special day for everybody.
You think it was the most magnificent, but it really was. We once it all happened, and we decided we were going to do this. We had some very specific dreams of grandeur in mind, and we didn't know if we were going to be able to pull it off, but we knew that we wanted to create an experience for our friends and our guests and our families that they would always remember, and we were going to support our music friends and people who should be bigger than they are, but they aren't.
Because we spend our lives really surrounded by pre-recorded music, and I'm a musician, and we've been making music together, and we really wanted to have that live element, and we were actually able to pull it off, I think. So
take me through what the day was like, what happened in each stage of the wedding, the ceremony, the party. What was the beginning of the day?
Well, our families had never met, so we all got into Atlanta, Georgia a day early, and we just saw Jasmine Masters talking about that she didn't get to make it to our family event on Friday night. We had at the Emory Conference Center where we got married, they had a little bowling alley, family room moment, and so we got together the night before, and everybody got to get together and realize that Tennessee and Compton are both the hood. They had a lot in common that they didn't realize.
Did they grab you, Latrice, and say, he's white?
They knew that part. But yeah, so Friday night we had a little family gathering, and then Saturday afternoon, I cried all morning, and then he cried during the ceremony.
Set up. Set up. So I looked like the crybaby on film.
Right.
No one saw him crying because we were back in our dressing, in our hotel room, and so it was really intimate. He got to cry in private, and then I looked like the big mess.
So we did an afternoon ceremony, and then we let everybody take a breather and a nap and whatever.
Was it a church or a garden?
It was at the Emory Conference Center Hotel.
Okay, yeah.
So we had everything on the grounds there. So if you got a room at the hotel, you never had to leave, unless you were going to Johnson's with Willem. Not Johnson's.
Swingin' Richards.
Swingin' Richards. Yeah, right. Wrong city.
Yeah.
And then we had dinner and music and dancing that evening that was just over the top.
See, but what he's glossing over is the fact that we had, during the ceremony, Don Tallman singing Through the Fire as we're walking down the aisle, live with a band. And then Lily McLeod singing Alabaster Box. I was a mess.
Right.
The whole room was a mess. It was the most spiritual, non-church, emotional come to Jesus moment.
People didn't even know they needed Jesus till they found him there, I think.
But it was just the right enough amount, not to be like, oh my God, we're at church. But you got that feeling of this is pure and this is wholesome and this is real love, and you can feel that energy in the room. And everybody was present, no phones, Our minister was so
a gay black man who is married to a white man. Only a little bit of relation there.
Very appropriate.
From Atlanta as well. And it's just like he did a great, Duncan is his name, and he did a great job of like letting the guests know the importance of being present in this moment. And we wanted them to be, and not on their phones and not seeing it through a lens.
Yeah.
We do enough of that, you know?
Yeah.
Just embed this in your memory banks and feel this moment, and everyone did.
Now, a long time ago, Latrice, when actually during the proposal, which was live on stage in Seattle in front of cheering fans. We've never got your on-camera reaction to how that was.
Look at
I mean, talk about, that is just a very modern look right there. When the queen gets down, takes her pompadour, and is ready to propose to her lovely husband.
Well, until he got on one knee, I really thought he's just going to pat me on the ass and say happy anniversary. And then I turned around and Lady Chablis, the show hostess there, had these two boxes in her hand. And then it just became literally a game of standing still and quiet long enough to let him do what he was going to do. And I never saw it coming. Pulse Orlando had just happened like the week before.
Right.
And so he left the house on this mysterious errand one day, and I really thought that he was going to like the hood to find me pills to calm me down. Wow. I really thought like this might not, I don't know what's going on. He would not tell me where he was going, but it never occurred to me that it was to buy engagement rings. And so, yeah, then Jujubee was live on Facebook, and Robbie Turner was there, and all of a sudden, I'm Princess Diana. The part that a lot of people don't get to see because it got taken down from YouTube because we don't own the rights to the music, was that he did a beautiful performance in drag, Just to Me, and the song "Someone Who Believes in You." It's a Carole King song, but it was performed by Martha Wash.
That number, honey, Miss Martha Wash version of that is the only one.
Yeah.
So that must have been very special and beautiful.
It was really, really moving. I come from Tennessee. He picked me out of kind of Knoxville, Tennessee, out of the whole world that he could have found. He saw something in me and believed in that. So. It was very moving. I threw out all the tips that I'd been collecting from her show. I threw back at her during that performance. Yeah.
And Latrice, when you proposed, you said you had once been a supporter of traditional marriage, but bitch, I've had a change of heart.
Yeah.
Tell me about that evolution.
Well, what happened was I got ordained to like officiate a friend of mine's wedding, and then I actually got to like see what it was really about and how important it was to have a sense of traditional family supporting your non-traditional marriage, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it started like triggering something in my head. And at the time, you know, marriage wasn't legal, you know, nationwide yet. So I got on the campaign for Toast to Marriage and marriage equality. And so, you know, I started doing that and getting involved. And after we got nationwide on our side, and it became legal for everyone to love whoever they wanted to love, I felt like it was a sign. And I had been thinking about it and contemplating for a couple of years. And
then, but I think when, when the Orlando incident happened, we did lose a very good friend of ours called Eddie Sotomayor.
Yeah.
That was, I think he was almost like everybody's ethical compass. He was the one that just made you want to do better. And he felt that it was really important for us to legally be able to take care of each other and stand up for each other. And he knew that for someone like each of us, that we need somebody to stand up for us. We don't always have that person. So before we were even married, we had taken care of
legal
paperwork to make sure that we had legal rights to deal with each other if anything should happen. Because it was very real that Latrice could have been at Pulse that night. Any of us in this industry could have been anywhere at any club.
Yeah.
And so it was very, we were very aware of how short our span can be.
Yeah, and so I didn't want to leave him in a predicament where, you know, matters. You know, there's a business at hand. There's a lot at stake, you know what I mean? And so someone has to be able to maintain or take over, and I don't want people fighting over shit. You know what I mean? That's where it gets real nasty. And it's like, someone just died and y'all fighting over their money.
Yeah.
So we nipped all that.
Or the spotlight to get in the story afterwards, so you can make the documentaries and things.
So we just make sure that that was taken care of, and that, you know, we knew that our future, whatever happened, was solid. So.
Now that you're together, you're man and man. I was going to say man and wife, but you're both man and man.
I'm a man, Mark.
Tell me about how do you make it work, and how has your relationship changed since being married, if at all?
Well, for me, I feel like, you know, we were kind of, like I said, married beforehand.
Yeah.
But I think ultimately, I know I want to be better for him, and he definitely tries and wants to be better for me. And through that, we're both growing, and we're learning about ourselves and our.
We came to a point quite a while ago that we say we'd rather fight it out with each other than start with somebody else that we know doesn't even begin to tackle half of what we're bringing to the table.
Right.
I've always said, since we met, when you meet the one that can deal with you, you know. And maybe it's more than one, Derek, or whatever. But I feel really lucky to have found one, so we're going to try and make that ride as long as we can.
Yeah. You guys work together, live together when you're not on the road.
Right.
Sometimes you travel together.
Well, I will say that's been the biggest challenge. We have maybe 4 or 5 rhythms that we go between now, whether I'm traveling with him and maybe accompanying him on Here's to Life, or traveling as an assistant, or at home running the company because he's busy in a new city every night on a tour bus I don't want to be on.
Right. Now, have you ever gone on one of those tours where you're the tour bus husband?
Well, I was actually hired by the Divas of Drag tour to be available to all of the girls. Well, not available to all the girls, I mean. But,
I bet not, Latrice.
I handled a few zippers. I was also hired to be part of the Work the World tour. But at the end of the day, I'm not in this for Drag Race or the tours. I'm in this for Latrice. That's where my loyalty is. We run a company that represents other people as well that has to be maintained. And I'm the closest voice that they can get to Latrice at times when she's on stage and being the star that she is. So it definitely takes a lot of different kinds of communication, and it takes me figuring out when I'm being proactive and when I'm being a nag, and when I can chill out, when we can chill out, actually structure time to chill out. That's the biggest challenge, I think, is that we have to plan our time to do nothing, because otherwise we don't get to do nothing. We could be at work 24/7 if we wanted to be.
We get it around here. What is your thing you love the most about Latrice?
Oh my gosh, what isn't there to love? I love the most, I think, that when I see this person face challenges in this business, because we know that we're dealing with really shady characters, we're dealing with people that want to be next to the spotlight, that don't know how to get it for themselves. And when I see him have to deal with those situations, when he's being taken advantage of, I see him take his full loyalty to a person into consideration, and the history of what they've done for him and how they've helped him get where he is before maybe moving on. You get plenty of time to show yourself, just like he has had the opportunity to show himself. He was fortunate enough that the world fell in love with him. It worked really well for him. That doesn't happen for everybody. And I see a compassionate and ethical human being trying to do his best. So that's all you can ask of a person.
Yeah. And Latrice, I'll ask you the same question about Christopher.
What attracted me to Christopher was his mind and his heart. They're so connected, and in a way that's refreshing. He wasn't afraid of me. Anyone who challenges me mentally and makes me think about my higher self, that's always a turn on.
Because that's the thing, is like, even though the world can see your, in particular, higher self, you don't remember that every day.
Yeah.
You like somebody, as a kid, I was really fascinated with Judy Garland, and I watched her learned about all the husbands that she went through and people who have really struggled to stand by her, and forgot that this is bigger than us. Yeah. This is a symbol of something, and so I'm really proud to be able to stand by that.
I mean, one of the first things he said to me was that, I think I know what you're doing, and if you allow me, I'd like to hang out and help out. And if I get in the way, I'll get out of your way. But until that point, I'd like to hang out. And he's been hanging out. Ever since. Ever since. And it's just like, yeah, this is like, he was the first person I've ever dated. I've had boyfriends, and I've had, you know, but he was the first person I've ever dated. And,
albeit through FaceTime.
Right, I bet.
And, you know, we actually courted and made plans and had to like get to know each other. And
he came to see me and brought no drag. Latrice was, and like at that time, and still, he doesn't really travel unless it's for Latrice. So when he came to see me, just to see me, I was like, oh, this is real.
Yeah.
He said he needed me to not call him girl anymore.
I got you on that.
This is getting real. We are not sisters.
Yeah, you don't call me girl. I can't do that. No kai.
I'm with you on that. Well, guys, I'm so happy for you. You're one of our favorite couples here in Hey Qween, and thank you so much for being here, Chris, and congratulations, honey.
Thank you for having me,
Give it up for the happy couple.